Come on! Turn the car around!
We're not turning around, he's gone!
What do you mean he's gone? He's my brother!
Your brother left you to die. He's abandoned you out here to me. You don't learn to fight, your death's gonna come real soon.
The plot is very simple. It's a movie on that level about a guy who gets his car stolen and spends the movie trying to get it back. The story is the gently unfolding relationship between Guy and Rob's characters. The world of the movie, the nature of the collapse was, pretty rigorously considered. Even just the word collapse, I think, is a kind of clear indicator of what might have gone wrong. That it is today, but it's fallen apart.
Tell me where your brother is.
He's going south, a long way from here. I'll take you to him, I promise.
I'm just gonna get your t-shirt.
Get up, we're leaving.
I didn't shoot the first day or two, I think, and I went to set and I watched Rob doing some stuff, and I was just immediately struck by how vulnerable he seemed and how great he was, and that he was real. And I'd seen some of this in rehearsal, but it's very different once camera's rolling and it's there on the monitor, But then when I watched the stuff on screen that he was shooting, I was really reminded of how vulnerable he was, which then really solidified, I think, all the stuff that I was thinking about, how cruel I was going to be to him and how kind of brutal I was going to be towards him. It just totally made sense.
Where's your brother? Where is he?
He's one of the only characters who's basically a product of that time. He doesn't know anything different, so he doesn't, Eric's pining after a lost world, whereas Ray is just like, this is what it is. It's just been shit since I was born. And so it's not so his life's not so depressing, which was kind of a relief, to play. I mean, I can't imagine what Guy was just bleak, so bleak the entire time. Whereas Ray's story is it's a little exciting, because at least Eric is, even though he's a pretty tough guy, he's actually trying to make Ray better himself. So it's actually it's a fun new relationship for Ray, however depressing the actual story is.
Getting Rob and Guy together and getting the characters on their feet is where you start finding everything else, And the character speaks as much through things like Rob's munty haircut or, Guy's homemade sort of personal manicuring, or the way Guy holds himself, the decades of tension and damage that he holds in his neck and shoulders. These are the ways in which a character speaks just as much as the words they say, and that's in a way the stuff, and the voice. This is the stuff that you find when you actually get the real people there and you start building the thing.
When we did the makeup tests, there were little gimmicks and things like that. Like one of the things, I had these makeup on my teeth, and it kept rubbing off all the time. And then I had to redo it and then redo a take because my teeth makeup would come off. So I started doing everything like that, and then it just became like a character trait, just so I didn't have to do my teeth makeup. And then I got really into hiding my teeth all the time.
I believe in God, and I know Henry believes in God. There's no harm Henry wants to see me come to, and I believe in that.
Yeah, look at the harm you've come to, and where's Henry?
He's waiting for me.
He's not waiting for you.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not. I'll tell you what God's given you. He's put a bullet in you.
I just felt like I really needed to get my head around who he was once before, how moral or humane he was, just so I could then understand that transformation and what I suppose, as the relationship with Rob sort of develops through the film, just which person would sort of come back to the surface, even in the tiniest, sort of most subtle ways, hopefully.
This character is so emotionally damaged, so closed down. Guy is so good at filling that stillness with intimidation, but also just giving you these little cracks into the kind of the damaged child inside that creature.
You must really love that car, darling. What a thing to get worked up about in this day and age. What is it about the car that you love so much? Can you tell me? What's your name, sweetheart?
There was a part of me that felt like Guy needed to do more talking when I was writing. And then as soon as I started redrafting, going back through the script, and it became apparent that, there was a reason why he was so taciturn. He is a mysterious and monstrous creature, and those mysterious and monstrous creatures don't chit-chat a lot,
David started talking to me about the animal that Eric has become, the creature that he was, the shark that he is now, in all these kind of terms that... And once I, aside from trying to understand who Eric used to be and getting my head around that, I also did have to understand who he is now. And I think once I got a sense of the monster that he'd become, for want of a better term, it was more about an animal, I think. An animal just surviving. You think about a dog that's out in the desert that has no real sense of history or future or what is right and what is wrong. It's just survival.
Guy can do a kind of sustained intensity really well. It's really hard to do without, it could quite easily look kind of silly if you're just pissed off all the time. But yeah, it's sort of, I don't know, he can do that. It was created like a kind of constant force, which is a fun thing to react off.
A lot of it is capturing that that completely draining, the oppression of that heat out there.
As soon as you see the landscape as well where we're shooting, it's like, it's just dead. It's so stark that you could feel the pace of the movie. And also because David lets so much space in between lines and stuff. We're doing like 10-minute long takes. And it's kind of like, this is gonna, it's not snappy.
I really liked the idea of making a film that would swim in that kind of oppressive heat and stillness, beginning it like a James Bond movie with just a crazy action sequence that actually isn't really that crazy when you think about it. It's not even really a car chase. It's more just like a kind of follow. And it's like a guy who just won't let go.
And this is David's forte. Aside from directing actors, his forte really is setting a tone, this unquestionable tone of the world that we're in, or whether it's Animal Kingdom or this or whatever film he does in the future. So I do think that even though it's very challenging, I do think people will come away from it, and it may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I do feel people will come away from it and go, wow, I feel affected by the movie.
The finished product feels like it feels like the dream I had when I was writing it, It feels like a really clear execution of my original intent, which says to me on some level that I was able to plan what it was going to look and feel like and execute it.
I like things that are really difficult. I'm not entirely sure how to predict how an audience will go for it. Like I remember, David MichÄ about this was like, when after we made it, he was like, "Yeah, I thought I was making a really commercial film. It's like an action movie." It's like,